Wish you all a very belated happy Diwali. Hope you had a good festive season. And welcome to this week's episode of the Author Collaborative. As always, I'll be talking to an author whose book I have recently read and enjoyed. And my guest for this week is somebody I've been wanting to get on the show ever since I read her debut book. And she's here today for the first time with her second book, Now Pashanam. We are going to talk about this book, and I'm very excited to talk to her because I've read this book, and in fact, I've read the book as part of our Fabulous Four monthly book, and we are also going to discuss this book tomorrow in Fabulous Four's episode. But today, I'm talking to the author directly, one on one, and I'm very excited to have her on the show finally. Yes, Nitya is already here. Let me just quickly add her. Hi, Amira. Thank you for joining. Let me know in the comments if it hasn't gone through. I'll send you a freaking invite. Hey, wow. I just have to tell you, I love you. I don't know what vibe you have because this is the first time in ages that the invitation has gone through in one go. And I've been able to begin the episode without any glitches. So,
Thank you, thank you.
so very, very happy about that. We are going to begin on a very positive note today because no glitches.
Absolutely.
Yes. And very
I have
excited.
my fingers, my toes, everything crossed for this.
Wonderful. And I am very excited to have you here. As I was mentioning in the intro also, I have been meaning to get you on the show for a while now, and I'm very, very happy that you are finally here. If not with the
Thank
first
you.
book, at least with the second book. So we are going to discuss this book. Before we do that, please tell about yourself to the audience, please.
Okay, let me first say that I'm also super excited to be here, and I don't know why we missed this with Rudraman, but so happy to be here now, right? Okay, let me introduce myself. I'm Nitya Neelakantan, and I am the author of Rudraban, Navapashanam, and the soon to be released Mahagauri. Apart from that, I have a couple of more books that I've written and are on their way to the publisher or already with the publisher and should be coming out next year, something of that sort. That's about me and my writing. Apart from that, I'm an L&D professional and a coach. And apart from all of that, I'm also a yoga teacher. So that's a little bit of everything that I do.
That's not a little bit at all. That's a lot. And I'm very impressed by the diverse portfolio that you have around you. Wow. And over and above that, you managed to be an excellent author. I can't tell you enough how much I love your writing because you have read my review of Rudrapan also. And I think it was my top reads of that year. And I've been telling everyone that it's a wonderful book. Uh, but let's talk about this one. I mean, what a book. I mean, when I was reading the book, I was like, yes, do we finally have a Da Vinci Code type author from India? And I was very, very happy because the thrill that I got, it was very similar to the first book that Dan Brown wrote with the Da Vinci Code. And
Mhm.
it unfolded in a manner that, I was able to recall the thrill that I felt when I first read that book, which was,
Wow.
I think I was in 12th grade at that time, if I'm not mistaken. So almost 2 decades ago. Almost 2 decades ago. And can you imagine in that 2 decades, I have not felt that thrill. So you can imagine how happy I was reading this book. And talking about the mystery of the book, I was happy that you have included the spirituality of India. There are temples that we look at. There are so many mythological elements that we look at. And I don't think I have read many books which do that in a manner that it's combining it with thriller also. I've read mytho fiction, but I've not read mytho thriller like this. So I'm very happy about that also. And wonderfully done. And also congratulations because this was one of the top three books for the Archer Amish Awards. And congratulations on that also.
Was yes, and that was very, very exciting. Thank you so much. But also equally so exciting that you're comparing me to Dan Brown. I can't tell you how much that means to me. You know, not that I set out to be like him, but wow.
No, I honestly because especially those chapters where they are looking at the temples. They are doing a particular research on finding the mystery around a particular temple. I can't give out much more because it will be spoilers. But
Yeah.
when I was reading those chapters and passages, I was like, this is very much like how Dan Brown was talking about the mystery unfolding in the Da Vinci Code, because
Yeah.
they are also trying to unravel a similar mystery around a
Hmm.
particular mythological, mystical object. So, yeah, I was reminded of that.
Nice.
I do have a lot of questions, but before we go any further ahead, I would like to give the audience, an advantage. I will read out from the book so that they are also equally, curious to check it out. And
Yes, please.
since in the spirit of not giving away any spoilers, I'm going to read out from the first chapter itself.
Okay.
And one more time, this is the book that we are talking about. Go check it out on Amazon, everyone. You can also reach out to Nitya. She can share the
Yes.
book with you. Yes. Okay, so this is the first chapter in the dead of the night, and this is how the book starts. It was past midnight when the boys set to work. Seek Ram, said a stern voice, but with stern but whispered voice. A small lamp lent its light as they placed items one by one into small wooden boxes made of sandalwood. They first wrapped each item in multiple layers of soft cotton before lowering them into little boxes. They placed these boxes into a heavy brass chest. There were 9 boxes in total. Each box could fit one item cocooned and layered in cotton wrapping. The whispered voice commanded again, "Bring it." The older boy opened a safe in the room and precariously lifted out a small jewelry box. It was the most beautiful box anybody had seen. The little girl, hiding past the doorway, watching, almost gasped aloud when she saw the stunning box. It was a white ivory box with blue gemstones set into it in a beautiful mango motif. The mango motif was a common design that adorned palace walls and jewels alike. I think the Indian readers would be able to easily imagine this motif.
Yeah.
But on the white box, the single motif was set in such a way that it looked like clear water dancing in the moonlight. The little girl wondered what was inside. Her question was answered almost immediately when the owner of the commanding whisper took it into her hands and clicked it open. She took out the most gorgeous necklace from the box. Money Meghalaya. Nobody heard the child's whisper. What is Amma doing with her jewelry at this hour? She thought. What are my brothers packing? As if in answer, her mother took the necklace and placed it on a pattern in the brass chest where the lock should have been. It fit perfectly. She turned the center piece a full rotation clockwise, then half a rotation anti-clockwise, 2 more clockwise rotations, and a full anti-clockwise rotation. She pressed something at the back of the necklace and gently released the necklace from the chest. She proceeded to replace the necklace in its box and clasped her fingers tightly around the box. Now, to see what the chest contains and what the mystery is about the necklace, you have to go check out the book. I am stopping at a very good point where I'm very sure whoever is listening, their curiosity is piqued. Loved it, loved it. And the way you have also, while I was reading this, I was also reminded of how the layering and the symbolism has been done in the book. We'll come to that in much detail later, but I also love that bit because there are a lot of Indian elements overall around in the book, which,
Yeah.
yeah. And based on my reading, I had a few questions for you, Nitya, if you would be kind enough to answer them.
Absolutely. Of course.
So let me just pull up the questions because I have a few of them and I have forgotten them. Yes. So actually, my first question was combining the 2 books that you have written because I've read both the books. I'm one of the few lucky
Mhm.
readers who have read for both the books. So, and I
Thank you.
wanted to ask you how you have combined the two because Lord Shiva is an entity that
Mhm.
features in both your books, and quite, throughout the story, his presence is there. So I want to
Yeah.
understand from you, Lord Shiva and mythology and spirituality are a major part and presence in both your books. Tell us how you approached it in both stories, and also the kind of research that went differently or similarly into both the books.
Really, really wonderful question because, as you're asking it is when I realized that I never intentionally put Shiva in both the books. And I also realized the upcoming book also has a Shiva in it.
Oh, wow.
So it
Lovely.
seems Yeah, so it's a theme now. But thinking back to when I wrote Rudraban, the title itself is Rudraban. So Rudra's arrow had to have Shiva in some shape or form in it, and therefore, he has to appear.
Hmm.
But when I wrote Rudraban, it was more of a contemporary love story which
Hmm.
had a slight mythology or a fantasy background to it. So there was not much that we had to do in terms of bringing Rudra into the story or something of that sort. I tried focusing more on the contemporary aspect of the story. But what research went into Rudraban was the fact that Rudra itself is not what we understand Shiva to be today. Rudra is a god from the Vedic times, and like how today we consider Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva as the trio. That was not the case in the Vedic times, and Rudra was a more powerful god among the 33 important gods, Vishwe Devas of the Vedic times. Um, so to represent Rudra in Rudraban itself was the main research. Even though
Hmm.
it took up a
Okay.
very small part of the story, I really had to get Rudra right.
Yeah.
And
We have a comment from it's Amu. She's saying mystical and magical, just like Nitya, ma'am.
thank you, Amo. Thank you so much.
And we also had a comment from Sukana. She was saying also the book introduces us to new cultures, which is very true. Because I am from West India and I am not very aware of how things go down in South India related to spirituality, the temples, the rituals. I was not very aware. My knowledge is very limited to, let's be honest, the popular medium like movies, and they are not doing it very well, to be honest.
True. I think that was a large part of why I wrote Navapashanam as well. And I'm so grateful that that's coming out or coming across well through the book. And I've heard this from multiple people, and I'm really grateful that that part comes across. I really wanted to represent some part of Tamil Nadu's culture, temple vibes, etc. And that seems to have clearly come out. And so, job well done, I think.
Yes, definitely. And I'm also going to clap for you.
Thank you. Now, coming to Shiva in Navapashana, I think the story evolved that way.
Hmm.
So, while I think I said this in some other interview as well, when I started out writing Navapashanam, I only had a very singular idea in my head, a little girl who's lonely, lost, and looking for something. That's all it started off with. So as I started writing the story and the characters developed and the story moved further, with my research I came across this temple. I mean, I visited the temple as a child, but of course,
Oh,
I yeah, I have been to pretty much every temple in Tamil Nadu. That's how much my parents dragged us around as little kids, and somewhere I have to thank them for it.
yeah,
But
thank you, Nitya's parents, because of your intensive, visits to the temples. This is the byproduct of that.
oh, how much I must have cursed them as a child कि यार कहीं घूमने जा रहे हैं तो take us to some fun place.
Yeah,
No, but this temple, that temple, that temple. But fascinatingly, I think somewhere that recall came back to me. And while I was researching, I found this really beautiful temple called Uttarakosamangai in Tamil Nadu. And that features largely in the second half of the book, right? And that's a Shiva temple. So, so I think Shiva made his way into my story somehow.
yeah, yeah, and obviously, your own background, as you were mentioning, these were part of your childhood, experiences. So that also must have played a huge role. And then, of course, as you grew up, you must have done your own research while writing,
A
inculcating these
lot.
things into your stories.
Yeah, of course. A lot of research definitely went in. So it's amazing the amount of research that one has to do for a fiction book.
Yeah. That is true. Yes, I can vouch for that. People don't
Yeah.
understand. People think this is a fictitious, a whim of our imagination or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
the thought goes
मन
into
मर्जी लिख रहे हैं बस.
ऐसा नहीं होता है. Research is involved in fictitious stories
Yeah.
also. Yeah. Which brings me to my second question, which is that we have already spoken a bit about it, but I want to focus on this a lot more.
Mm.
The footnotes with the local language references were very helpful. And then there is also the fact that the title is you have obviously tried to capture a global audience, and it has, all, of course, been shortlisted for the Jeffrey Archer Award. I mean, Archer Amish Award. So tell us about this. How much do you think these kind of footnotes matter when you are trying to capture a global audience? You are going to, represent India not just within India, but you are also representing it for audiences out of India.
This was actually hard for me because I went through a lot of books that use Indian terms and terminologies that talk about parts of our culture, and most of them don't come with footnotes.
Yeah.
Right, and I have suffered through some of these books as well. Right, I remember reading an English novel that was set in Bengal, and there were a lot of references to Bengali terms. Rather, there were a lot of inclusion of typical Bengali terms, and I would wonder, okay, what is this? And then I had to go and do a Google search and say, okay, this is what they were talking about. So then I remember having a word with my editor and saying, look, do we need footnotes?
Hmm.
Right, and they said, okay, let's think about it. How many Indian terms do you have? I said, I have a lot of Indian terms. I
Hmm.
have really soaked this book in Tamil culture, and that means that there are going to be a lot of terms that people do not understand, and they need probably some kind of an explanation around it. So then we decided to go ahead with the explanation of terminologies, and boy, is that hard work.
Yeah.
Adding description to so many Indian words is hard work, but I think it paid off because I do have colleagues and friends across the world who did pick up the book, and they got a much better understanding into some parts of our culture and our traditions and India as such, because the footnotes were helpful to them. And as you mentioned yourself, it was helpful to you also. So I'm assuming that even across India, we're we're such a diverse culture that
Yeah.
we need help understanding each other's backgrounds, cultures, and in pockets, our knowledge is very limited, right?
Yeah. That's,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so I think that's where I feel like the footnotes and the explanations really do help bridge that gap.
And yes, I do. When you spoke about reading Indian books or about specific regions of India and not having those footnotes, it becomes a big major pain. When you have to go and research it yourself, it just breaks the flow of the reading, and you're just put off a little bit.
Mm.
I've explained it better. That's what the first thought that comes to your mind when you are reading books that you are not, familiar with the setting. That always helps.
Yeah.
And do you think this also plays a major part when you are representing it or nominating a book at such a level? Like you must have nominated the title for the Archer Amisha Awards, and that do you think that plays a major part in the book going ahead, adding those footnotes?
Coincidentally, I did not nominate myself. My publisher did. Thank you, Readomania. Right. But no, I don't really think so. I think they would have read the book even without the footnotes. But I'm going to say that it would have definitely been helpful.
Hmm.
Like I'll take Amish's example itself.
Hmm.
He doesn't have footnotes. He kind
Hmm.
of puts it in bracket or explains it right there, wherever he's using the word. So I'm going to say it's not the footnote, but the explanation that matters. In what form it comes, I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
But if you're using Indian terms, then and you want people to understand your culture and your heritage a little bit better, then do explain yourself.
Yes. I have also noticed since you mentioned it that it's not necessary to give it in footnotes. You can also do in brackets. I have also observed some authors doing it in the dialogue itself, where some
Hmm.
character is not aware of that particular term or reference, and then the other character explains it in the dialogue itself. That also works, I think.
Correct, correct. So the idea behind it is tell us what is it,
Yeah,
right? I
exactly.
mean, because we are voracious readers, we are very curious about what we are reading. And the whole reason we are reading is so that we get transported to new places, meet new people, understand new cultures, and I think that's fabulous when we're able to learn all of this and pick up new stuff from books.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have a follow-on question, an add-on question which came up to me while I was reading we in the reading I was mentioning that you have done a lot of symbolism and there is a layered writing to the cultural and religious references, spiritual references. Take us through that process also. It's a follow-on to this only. We are talking about Indian culture only, but this is like a sub part of the whole India. So tell us about what that was. What kind of research? How did you inculcate into the story? What that process was like?
So again, it's about what we understand of our own culture, right? And then how do you portray that to people? That's probably where it became layered for me and for the book in itself, right? What I understand about the temples, what I understand about how our jewelry is used, what a yantra is, etc., and how they can double up as something else, how they can be used to further your thriller or your mystery along. Of course, it took a lot of research. I had to read up so much. I had to go to places, I had to visit things. So there was a lot of research that went in. Um, and so when you say symbolism, what really stood out for you is my question.
I think what stood out for me, I'm going to keep coming back to the same point. For me, it was the way you have, used temples to create this mystery around this particular elixir that we are talking about. For me, it was very reminiscent of what was done in Da Vinci Code. For those of you who have not read it, it's related to Christianity and Catholicism. And, that's how I found it similar to what you have done with the Hindu religion. And you have inculcated Lord Shiva and his elixir into your story. So that was kind of, fascinating for me.
So, the way he uses codex, and things like that. So, right? But I don't think I intentionally tried to do that.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think
So,
it was I think it was a natural way to move into telling the story, right? To
okay.
build that mystery and bring it out in such a way. I mean, obviously, otherwise it's very straightforward, right? How do you make it non-linear? Was using through the symbolism, and and that part of the research was really really important because there are siddhars across India even today who work on alchemy and who work with metals and metallurgy, um, to create all kinds of things. There are a lot of rumors that if you mix certain chemicals and do alchemy in a certain way, you can produce gold.
yeah, yeah.
And I have a very distant relative who's a very very deep follower of these siddhars, and he's trying it out himself. And he had a few stories to tell me, and that was also a part of my research.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so to understand what these siddhars were doing, what this alchemy even means, take the essence of it and use it in the book in such a way that it doesn't sound ridiculous was a lot of hard work.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes, because e- there is a certain kind of prejudice we have in our minds as authors and creators of such stories ourselves also, that does it really exist? We have to let go of that prejudice also while working on such stories. How did you overcome that, if you had any?
I still do, I mean, as a person that grew up in the modern world with science as a background, where logic and reason take a hit, it's very hard,
Yeah.
right? But I think that's also the other part of why I wrote this book, to bring out the fact that science and spirituality can probably coexist in one person. They both have their space.
Yes, and I think that comes through very well to the character of Megha, where she's, she's this person, research scholar, so very, very well educated and academically lean, and
Yeah.
then she's finding herself in the midst of such elixirs, and now Apashanam, she's also finding it hard to believe that, but as
Absolutely.
much as she gets into it, she's realizing no, it is possible that there is
Mm,
something to this.
yeah. So, so the whole idea is before you dismiss it as ridiculous, give it a chance.
You just talked about talking to somebody who is, a believer of such thing.
Hmm.
So, was there someone besides that person you are directly related to? Were there other people also that you spoke to?
They did give me contacts of other people who I can't really mention because apparently it's a whole secret sect or society of people
Okay.
who follow these notes. So I can't really discuss them much. But yes, I did. I definitely spoke to a few people.
Oh wow, that must have been, yeah, well, that must have been a very interesting experience. I would like to talk to you about it separately now. And there are two groups of people that you have spoken about in the story. We have the Ayurvedanakaris and we have the Aghori Shankaras. And
Yes.
uh, how did you come up with the names for these two groups? And do you think they really exist?
I don't think they really exist, but yeah, those parts are a figment of my imagination. I mean, maybe we do have sects of people who are for and against certain kind of beliefs and certain kinds of rituals, but these two specifically are figments of my imagination. How did I come up with the names? Again, a lot of research. Agora Shankaras is fairly straightforward. You pick up Agora and you just, you know, you rehash it kind of. But Ayurvardhanadhikaris were kind of, I know it's hard to even get, right?
Yes.
But
I myself
uh,
have to read the word two, three times to get the pronunciation correct. I was like, am I reading this correct? Is this the way she's supposed to the way she meant for us to read the word?
yeah, that kind of came out from Sanskrit words. So I did a lot of research there as well, and I said, okay, what would be a term for people who can heal or people who are into healing and elixirs and stuff like that, and that's how I came up with that name.
So lovely. So wow, that's a lot of thought has gone into every term and every little detail that has gone into the book, and I'm just very impressed. Wow, well done, Nitya.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that brings me to the end of my questions that I had for you. I'm sure a lot of more questions will come up from the audience or later when we are talking more. But now the floor is yours. You have also read my latest book. Please take it ahead.
Absolutely. So now we are going to talk about My Jeans Fit Well and the Ice Cream Didn't Melt, aka Fit Melt.
Yes,
And I must tell you how amazing this is. I really could not stop smiling throughout the book, right?
thank
Every
you.
alphabet. Either it was because I could see myself in that story, or I could be like, you know, oh, there are other people who are going through this as well, right?
Yeah,
So I think that almost anybody who reads this book
just
will
quickly
absolutely.
going to show everyone the book cover. This is the book that we are talking about. Please continue. Nitya.
Yes, I was going to show it to you, but I have like bookmarks and all kinds of things inside, so I didn't want to spoil the aesthetics of the book.
That's all right. Yes, please
But
go on.
I do have the hard copy. People who are going to go and pick this book up, I would recommend you pick up the hard copy because it's so much fun.
Thank you.
Right, you don't want to miss out on all of those images and text bubbles and things like that. They are so much more fun when you pick up the hard copy, right? But as I was saying, I think almost anybody who reads this book will completely identify with what you've been, all these little moments that you've been talking about, and it's been a complete pleasure to read it,
Very happy
right?
to hear that.
And so here's my first question to you,
Hmm.
right?
Before
Um,
we do that, would you like to read out
yes,
a few nuggets from the book?
absolutely. So I'm going to tell you which page so that you can show them that, right? The first one,
Hmm.
page 38,
Uh,
alphabet F.
S.
F,
F. Okay. Yeah.
freedom to do.
Yes. Yes. Good. This is the one. Yes, please read.
Yes. So this little nugget says freedom to do whatever I want without the burden of responsibilities or being answerable to anyone, even for a little period. And then the bubble says today's agenda: out of office, out of kitchen, out of cares to give. And I think that is brilliant, right? If productivity tries to find me, tell it I ran away. Okay, and the third one says, this must be what celebrities feel like on their off day. And I'm like, wow. The last bubble goes, did I do anything important today? No. Am I thriving? Yes. living good life finally. Okay. But what really got me, Manali, was the bottom, which says responsibility called. I hit decline.
That's just like, wow, when can this happen? We look forward to these days and these moments, right? Just don't give a damn about anything.
Absolutely. I mean, and that really got me. I said responsibility called and I hit decline. I want to do that.
Yes, I want to reach that level of nirvana.
Absolutely, of course. Okay, now I'm going to read from T.
Okay. Okay.
118, the perfect balance.
Oh my God. Yes, this is the one.
Yes, the perfect balance of hot plus cold water for a bath or a shower, especially during winter. And this just hits the nail on the head, okay? Just a little colder. Oh no, this became Arctic cold. Ah, why does every shower at a new place become a trust exercise with the plumbing? And I'm adjusting the temperature. I'm trying to crack a safe.
I
Right?
know, right?
That's sometimes it feels like that even in your own bathroom. Forget a new place or a new
Yeah,
shower.
actually, and especially if when you are sharing the bathroom with somebody else, and there are more than two people, तब तो भूल ही जाओ. मतलब you are also cursing the person who used the shower before you, and then you are wondering, is this my house or am I a visitor here?
So why does every shower come with just two settings? Arctic tundra or lava pit? Oh,
Yes. Okay.
right. Now moving on to M,
Okay.
me time.
Yes. 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 Found it. This one.
Yes, me time, not getting lost in the daily hustles. Right? I don't even remember the last time I read a book without worrying about work, remembering some unforgotten errands or housework. I really need to spend some time at that park I love. Maybe I'll just go tomorrow without planning anything or thinking about what's on my agenda. Stressing over my stress free time.
Yeah, this is actually a problem with me. I start thinking about when is my day off, when was the last time I took a day off, and then I'm like, oh my God, I need a day off.
So this is not exactly what I do, but guilt hits us all at all kinds of
Yeah, yeah,
times, right? And
for sure.
this happens to me in a different way, like when I'm not doing anything, right?
Yeah,
And then I start stressing over not doing anything, and I'm like, you're not doing anything, you're not
yeah.
doing anything. Yet that whole not doing anything becomes about not doing anything.
And then you start wondering, am I forgetting something important? I am sure I am forgetting something important. Totally, yes.
Right. So the last one that I want to read is P, page
Okay.
92, which is people get my books. This is important because
We are doing this tomorrow. This is
exactly.
snapshot of the Fabulous Four podcast that I do with three of my friends, and we talk about a book that you have read in that month. This is what we are doing tomorrow with Nitya's book, by the way. 12 noon Indian
Yes.
time.
Yes, please, all of you, please join that without fail. All right. So people getting my books and entertainment references and saving me the effort or embarrassment of having to explain the jokes or statement, right? So, okay, one person is saying the book reminded me so much of the movie Pinjar starring Manoj Bajpayee and Urmila Matondkar, right? And then we have Sid saying, let me just nod and smile to pretend as if I know what she's talking about. I'll Google it later.
That is definitely what something Siddhant would think, for sure.
Uh, and then it, and then
Yes,
you have this,
that is
yeah,
Nil.
I think I have
That is Nil
go
Sri.
ahead.
Nah,
Okay.
that person is Nil Sri, yes.
So Nishi is saying, I think I have a vague recollection of the movie. Was it this one or was it Zubeda? Right? And you're saying, I was probably not even born when that movie came out. I need to start watching more
That is
movies.
Tanvi. I was the one who thought of the
Okay.
movie Pinjar.
Ah, Pinjar, okay. So
This is
Tanvi is like,
Tanvi.
I was probably not even born when the movie came out. Great. But the bottom is the best, as always. I think, after your bubble, the realization that you come to is always the hard hitting one. So my love language referencing obscure movies and books.
Yes.
And of course, we've also said that the illustration is inspired from the episode of a book discussion plus panel on a show called The Fabulous Four. And we are all going to look forward to that too.
Yes, and probably we will be referencing some movie that the other three might not yet. Thank you for reading that one out. I don't think we have shown that in this show. We have not merged the two shows so far. So thank you.
Yes, the time had to be right.
Yes, correct. Okay, your floor, your questions.
Yes, absolutely. So before I come to the question, I think the question itself is related to that. But you know how you've collected all these really small moments?
Hmm.
I think kudos to that. It takes a lot for one to sit and self introspect and come up with all of these things about oneself. And I think you've done a commendable job of it.
Thank
Really.
you.
Hats off to you. I don't think I'll be able to introspect about myself in this detail and be so frank about it. You have really opened yourself up here, and that's a fantastic job, I have to say. Right. So that's a segue into my first question, which is what, according to you, is the narrative power of the everyday, and how did that compel you to bring together small snippets of your joys, your sorrows, your hits, your misses, your leaps, and your falls?
Okay, so for a very long time, I was somebody who thought, writing about myself is not something that I want to do. Writing about myself is not something people would want to read. More than not me wanting to write, I was also under the impression, because I don't read nonfiction myself, I believe that others would also not read. you know
But this is not non-fiction. This is life.
yeah, exactly. That's when the epiphany came. This is not nonfiction. I can talk about myself and people will find something relatable in it. Even if they are not finding it relatable, it's fine. They will find something that they can think about, probably, or have just of that 5 to 10 seconds of fun while reading about me. So that was the whole idea behind this particular idea of coming up with these moments. Actually, this began as something on my social media where I used to share it on my social media with the hashtag, hashtag silly things that make me happy. And
Mm.
it was just, something that I would, some tiny little thing from my everyday life that would make me smile. And I would put it on my social media, sharing it that
Mm.
this is something that, very silly, but it made me smile today. That kind of
Yeah.
a thing. And those posts became very, very popular. I have to tell you, I did not expect them to have such a relatability factor. And I was pleasantly surprised and shocked. And I thought, maybe I should try taking this stuff further ahead. By that time, I had already had 3 books out. And they were also along the same lines. They were fiction, but I always have this slice of life element in my writing. Even if I
Absolutely.
even if I'm not talking about myself, my fiction also has a slice of life element into it. Even if I'm doing a subgenre like fantasy or mystery or thriller,
Mm.
I somehow tend to bring in that little moment or nugget where you feel like, हाँ ये तो मेरे साथ हुआ है या किसी somebody I know has
Yes.
gone through this. So
Relatability. Absolutely.
that has been, I think, a characteristic feature in all my writing. So I think that kind of helped me connect better while I was doing my nonfiction writing for the first time. I call this, the broader genre of this book is nonfiction. But of course, again, if you look at the subgenre, again it becomes slice of life only, which is
Mm.
something that I've done for a very long time. I've done it with 10 books previously already. So I think that
Mm.
merged very well with my experience of doing fiction and using that experience while I was writing my first nonfiction book. So that kind
Yeah.
of merged them. And also,
But
I'm just a very person who likes to observe things, observe people, observe behaviors, myself also and others also, how they are behaving, how they are reacting. That's the kind of person I am. So that also helped, introspection, extrospection, sub ho gaya usme. And I think that came that came in handy in this book.
And I think that's the reason why it has appealed to so many people, because everyone sees a little bit of themselves in it.
Yes.
right? Because
Yes.
of the introspection, but also because of the observations of
Yes.
how people behave, how, if put into these similar situations, how do we react?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that that has made it very endearing
Thank
more
you.
than anything else.
Thank you so much. Okay.
All right, that brings me to
I
my
have
next
been able
question.
to
Hmm.
answer your question.
Yes,
I hope I have been able to answer your question though.
absolutely, of course.
Because I went here and there, so I was not sure if I answered the question that was supposed to be answered.
That's the point, no? Life goes here and there, and that's what you've done with the book also.
Yes, true. Yes.
And and that was the answer, I think. How you why did you manage to choose the smaller moments in life? I got the answer to that.
Yes. Okay.
Right. So my next question: how did you? The title is about your jeans that didn't fit well, and then the ice cream that didn't melt. How did you take two absolutely unconnected, unrelated, and such disparate items and bring them together like that? In such a, I mean, and it just makes sense, you know?
So there is a whole process that I follow for my book titles. Generally, my book titles come at the very end. When I'm done with all the content, when I am done with all my editing rounds, I keep the title for the end. By then,
Hmm.
it's a working title in my head. For this, I had either silly things that make me happy in my head as a working title,
Hmm.
or Quirks and Smokes with M, because that was the
Okay.
blog series I based the book on. On my blog, that series was called Quirks and Smokes with
Hmm.
M. So these were the two working titles I had in mind where I started compiling the final draft of the book. But I did have, in mind कि ये तो नहीं चलेगा, something else I have to think about. So when I completed the book, I sat down and made a list of titles that I wanted to, or a list of things probably first
Hmm.
that I wanted to include in the title. One of the things that was coming again and again were two, three things. That was flowers. Flowers were again and again. Nature inspiration was
Hmm.
coming a lot in a lot of the illustrations and nuggets. Flowers were
Okay.
a lot. So the initial title was Blossoming Flowers and uh, Bubble Wraps and Blossoming Flowers. This was one of the initial titles. Another one which was also in my head was Epic Fails and Epiphanies.
Okay.
But somehow they were not connecting well. And then I spoke to a few of my trusted friends. Sukana, I think,
Hmm.
is already here. Sukana is one of the people who's always in a part of this, book title making finalizing process. So I was talking to Sukana and Siddhant and Nilshri. Nilshri is also a part of this. So I was talking to these people and I was sharing these titles that I had in my mind. And they liked it, but all three of us were of the opinion कि ये इतना नहीं मजा आ रहा है. It's not like that.
Huh.
Aha moment नहीं आ रहा है.
Right.
So when I was, shortlisting these titles, there were other two, three which I'm not remembering right now. But another thing that I was doing while, shortlisting these titles, I was going back to the nuggets again and again.
Hmm.
Another thing that kept featuring more than once was ice creams and desserts. My love for ice creams and desserts is also, in a lot of the nuggets.
Boy, did they come up many times.
Exactly. And also, there were bits about my struggles with my body image issues, where I am
Hmm.
talking about, going on a diet, where I'm talking about not, putting on weight after a cheat meal, or when, I've gone on a holiday and I come back healthy. There's nothing wrong with my body. There are a lot of these nuggets also. So, fashion and clothing was also happening
Yeah.
again and again.
Hmm.
And one particular one stood out very, distinctly in my head, even after the 162 nuggets that I had done. One stood out very distinctly for me in my head, which was the one where I'm talking about the pair of jeans that I own, which fits me
Hmm.
very well.
Right.
So I was like, this is something I think most women will be able to relate to it. I am not sure about the men's gender or the other gender.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if they have the same struggle, but I'm pretty sure 100% of the women will be able to relate. Irrespective of their body sizes, they always struggle with the right fitting of their clothes.
Yes. Yes.
So that was the one I stuck with. And then when I finalized that the jeans and the ice cream have to come in the title, I
Hmm.
worked on the words around it. I formed the phrases around it. my jeans fit well was the first one. And the ice cream
Mm.
didn't, because in one of the nuggets, I'm talking about, enjoying the scenery around me. Yeah,
Yes.
bowl of ice cream is in front of me, and I'm thinking to myself, what should I do? Should I focus on the scenery? Should I focus on the ice cream? Or should I post for the photograph that somebody is taking of me? So in that particular nugget, I'm talking about that the ice cream. Obviously, I have to post for the photograph first and
Yeah.
do it quickly before the ice cream melts. So
Yes.
that I decided to use. I combined those two nuggets where my jeans fit well and the ice cream didn't melt. So both the things that made me happy in those particular moments, I combined those. And when I spoke about the title to the three of my friends that are also on the live here, shout out to all three of them. They were like, yes, this is going to go very well. Let's go with this because this is a very quirky title and people will remember it and relate to it.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, all of you, because it really fit well. And it, like I said, two seemingly unrelated things, how they come together and make so much sense. Yeah, this is a perfect example of that.
Yes, and shout out to my three friends who have always been a part of this, shortlisting process for my book titles.
Good. It's always good to have a tribe like that.
Yes, exactly. And I would have to gone with epic fails and epiphanies or something like bubble wraps and blooming
The
blossoms.
bubble wrap one was good as well, but I think this it doesn't come anywhere close to this.
Yes. So yeah, that's how the title was finalized for the whole process.
Okay, so I have a question that came up, an additional question that came up as I was reading out this to you. How did you come up with all those one-liners after your um, illustrations?
The captions, I have to tell you about that. Those were not initially a part of the uh, book that I was compiling. I had no intention
Oh.
of having
Hmm.
earlier about the blog series that I did before,
Yeah.
putting them in the form of a book. And in the blog series, I didn't have illustration for all the nuggets. I had illustrations for in each post. I had 5 illustrations, and out of those 5, only 2 had illustrations, and the illustration had captions. So
Hmm.
when the series was ongoing and when it completed, I realized one thing, that people were loving the captions a lot. And that's when I realized that maybe I can use the captions also in the book. Initially I
Hmm.
only wanted the nugget and the illustration because the that in itself was very coming out to be really quirky and funny and silly. But when I realized that the captions are equally silly and funny and making people laugh, I decided to keep that bit also in the book. And the captions are something that have come in the very last stage of the writing.
And I must tell you how they really hit home. You know, they completely bring the message home to you. It's very beautiful.
On that note, I'm just going to read out one that stands out so clearly in my head, because when I wrote it, I was like, wow, this is brilliant. I deserve an award for this kind of
Yes, please do
So
tell.
this is one illustration where 2 women are traveling in a metro, and they're
Ah,
yes, and one of them is reading a book that the other one has enjoyed. This is the one. Finding a
I
bookish friend.
remember this. Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
the one woman is saying, the woman who has read the book, she's saying, I love that. It made me laugh, cry, and then question whether I have been completely fine my whole life. Because the woman is reading the book, Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine.
Hmm.
She's reading that
Fine.
title. And that's why she's saying, it made me question whether I was completely fine or not. So she's saying that, and the other woman who's reading the book, she's saying, I am at the point where I'm wondering, when does Eleanor Oliphant get fine? And the caption here says, because this is something that has happened with me, I
Hmm.
have immediately trusted people who are bibliophiles and bookworms. So the caption here says, 20 seconds away from sharing my OTP if they ask for it.
I remember this very well.
So yeah, that was like a spur of the moment caption. And I was like, wow, Manali, you brilliant.
Again, this is so much of what all of us readers do, no?
Yeah.
Today I was reading something on Instagram which said it's so nice, right? When you get good book recommendations from people, but then you see a person reading a book you like, and that's like a book recommending a person to you.
Recommending a person. Yes, exactly. Yeah,
And
so
this was very reminiscent of that.
exactly. Okay. Now I think we are done with praising each other's books and praising each other, reading out from each other's books and asking the questions. Now we come to the fun part. Okay. The rapid fire round, Nitya. How we'll do this is we'll do back and forth. One question I ask, one
Okay.
question. Okay. Okay. Let me just pull up my questions. Okay.
Sure.
Yes. Wow. My first question to you in the rapid fire is if you could spend a day in your own story's world, where would you go first? Would you go to a shrine or temple? Would you go to the mansion? Or would you go to the Agora lair?
I would go to the Agora lair.
Oh,
I want to catch those guys in action.
oh, wow. This is an. I didn't expect that answer. I was very sure you would say the mansion. I'm forgetting the name of the mansion. What is it called? To start.
Mangalam Mansion. Even I thought I would want to go to the mansion because I mean, there's the mystery around how these
Yeah.
old mansions used to look and how. But I think that I would want to get down with the villains and see how their mind works real time.
Uh, Good one.
Yeah.
ठीक है. Your turn.
Yes. So my first question to you is, what is your go-to responsibility called and I hit declined moment or activity?
So I am always a person who text over call person. And if I'm chatting with someone related to work and they happen to call, I will ignore it. I will definitely ignore it. Already we are talking on chat, no? And I don't like getting on phone. Why are you calling me? So
Uh, so
that
you
one.
don't take calls.
No, unless, somebody really has like, a life and death situation,
Yes.
Yeah.
I completely relate to that. I completely relate to that.
So yeah, I will not answer calls unless absolutely necessary. I will definitely avoid them.
Unless you text me ahead of time, take my permission, take my time, and then I have mentally prepared myself that you're going to call me.
And I have had time to prepare the conversation in my head.
Yes.
Okay.
Good to know.
So yeah, we relate here also. I'm very happy. Okay. My next question to you is you are allowed to ask one of your characters a question. Who would it be and what would you ask them?
I would ask Mukambike a
Hmm.
question, and that question is why was the Navapashanam more important to her, or protecting the Navapashanam more important to her than her family?
Then okay, not even the family. I think she completely ignored the daughter. मुझे उसके साथ का ज्यादा बुरा लग रहा है. Why was the daughter never looped in?
Yes, bichari choti bachchi.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yes, so that's a question that I want to ask her. Why
yeah,
was she such a character?
yeah.
And
Good
mind
one.
you, she wrote herself. Huh? It's like people be like, you wrote the character. Why don't you know this about her?
No, I can totally understand. The characters write themselves. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
Yes. I think you brought this up somewhere when we were talking about titles. Bubble wrap or ice cream? Which is your version of sensory heaven?
See, if only I had a blessed metabolism, I would go for ice cream. But since I don't have that, I would say bubble wraps because I can't afford to have ice creams every now and then.
Okay, but if you could, then who would win? Bubble wrap, ice cream?
But of course, if I had a good metabolism, then ice cream.
Ice cream. Okay.
Okay, my next one. If Rudraban and Navapashanam had to have a duel, which story would win and why?
This is like asking me to pick a favorite among my children, and it's a very hard
I
question, but
have
I'm
just
going to give
twisted.
you.
I have just twisted it a little.
But I'm going to give you the straight answer. It's Navapashanam because I feel like Rudraban is a very linear story. I wrote it for Kindle and therefore I wrote it as a very straightforward linear story, no villains, nothing. Right? It's just two people in love having a difficult time and how they make their way back together, kind of. Navapashanam is more layered. There's symbolism. There's a lot more mystery and thrill and things like that. And so I think that Navapashanam would win a duel.
Oh, for sure. And it has the elixir. I mean, who can win against that?
Yes.
Okay, your turn.
Yes, my turn. If your mood were a color on the rainbow, which color would it be? And what flavor of ice cream would it match?
Oh, this is going to be two different answers because the color that I'm going to pick, I don't think it has a flavor in ice cream. But the color would definitely be green because
Mm-hmm.
and I had written a micro tale around this a few years back, which says that somebody's asking a girl, why is your favorite color green?" And the woman is answering, of course, that woman is me. She's answering, uh, "It's green because rains do not have a color, and my favorite season is monsoons."
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so and because that green is the color that you see the most in during monsoons, so that's why.
Yes. Yeah.
And
And
for
if you
the
have
ice
to have a, yeah,
cream,
the ice cream.
maybe pistachio because I mean, it's not my favorite flavor to pick if I had
Mm.
to someday. But since I have picked green, so pistachio, I guess.
Like, let's say the color and the ice cream didn't have to match, but the vibe had to match.
Any chocolate flavor. Anything related to chocolate you give me. Yeah, I will not say no.
Nice. I do love chocolate myself.
Yeah. Oh, good to know. Okay. My next question to you is uh, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly, so correct me if I'm wrong. The character's name. Mukambibai? How do you pronounce it?
Mukambike. Yeah, Mukambike.
Mukambike and Megha read
Mm-hmm.
Fit Melt. Which tiny joy or nugget would be their favorite and why? Each women.
Okay, I have bookmarked it, right? Um,
Oh,
I'm
nice.
going to read it out now. Spontaneous decisions turning out well in the long run, in the long or the short run. And why I picked that is because this is a thriller, and both these women have done some crazy stuff, right? They have just gone for it without really thinking about it or thinking
Yes.
about what it'll result in and things like that. Just rushing through life with different decisions and difficult decisions.
Yes.
So I feel like both the women would, this would totally fit both of them.
And also, since you have spoken about this, and we are on the show that is represented in this illustration, this is the nugget that Nitya has picked, and this is where I'm happy about the author collaborative show that Nitya is currently on. And I have to also admit that this was a spontaneous decision that I decided to start this podcast and this show.
And it's been going absolutely fantastically well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, both the women would be able to relate to this. Now your turn.
Yes. Yeah. What is the most common I told you so moment that happens in your life?
I think anything around my husband. He doesn't listen to me. And I must have warned him about so many things in life. Like something as simple as saying that, let's do the laundry today because I feel that tomorrow we might not have the time. And then he doesn't end up doing it. And it just so happens that the next day both of us are tied up and none of us can do the laundry.
Okay, so as always,
Yeah.
Manali 1, Manat 0.
Yes. Oh, in domestic chores, so definitely. Manali is always plus one.
Good.
Okay. My last question to you. If you could magically add one whimsical illustration inside your book, Navapashanam, what would it depict?
Mm, I think it would be something like a you for unburden myself.
Oh, sorry, why?
I said I think it will be like something like an unburden
Uh,
myself.
Probably at the end of the book, when they have unraveled all the mysteries, and things are a little going back towards normal.
Yes.
That moment would, I think Megha would pick that moment to illustrate what is happening in her life.
Right. I think even Mukambike, for that matter, unburden is the one thing that I can think of for both of them. They just both
Yeah.
carrying the weight of the book on them, two
Yes.
female protagonists where everyone else is just like, on the side watching things. So unburden would have been an illustration that would have sat well for both of them.
Yeah. On that note, I also want to ask this. Who is this? Is this Megha or who's?
So when I tried designing the cover, I actually wanted two different faces to merge,
Yeah.
right? And it was very difficult. So if you do look at the cover, actually speaking, it's a
The
little bit of both. It's a little
actually,
bit
yeah.
of both. One,
The,
one is wearing a very ancient kind of,
yeah, there is a discoloration, slight discoloration.
yes.
Yeah,
And for those who have read the book, I say that Megha is a um,
reincarnation of.
yeah, so we say that she's a spitting image of Mukambike. So it's meant to be both of them.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, and wow, this is when I'm noticing it that both of them are wearing different earrings
Yes.
because both the ears have two different hooks.
Yes.
I'm observing now. Thank you.
All
Uh,
right. I have one last question for you.
okay.
If you could borrow one element from Navapashana for your next work, what would that be?
I wouldn't call it a problem that I have, but I do want to get rid of the, you know, I want to have the ability where I can go on for hours without sleeping or days without sleeping. And if the elixir can work, a magic around that. So, so
Oh, yes.
definitely the Navapashanam, where it can, give me the ability or the superpower maybe, where I don't need to sleep.
To just keep going, is it?
Yeah. Yes. No, no,
Considering the
no.
number of things that, and considering the number of things that you indulge in,
Oh, thanks.
yes, I'm sure that you would need it.
Thank you so much. And this was so much fun. And before we wrap up the show, this is the last segment where we are going to play a fun game. This is called the Fit Melt Bingo. And
Uh-huh. Okay.
I have designed it around the nuggets that are a part of the book. And I'm
Hmm.
going to pass them to you. You just have to answer in yes or no. Okay.
Yes or no?
First one. Witnessed a perfect sunset in the last 7 days.
No.
No. Okay. Own a pair of jeans that fits just right.
Yes.
Very lovely. Next one. Ate ice cream before it melted.
Yes.
Lovely. Okay. Next one. Made a witty comeback at the right time.
No.
No?
I wish.
Okay. Next one. Went on a peaceful walk alone.
Yes.
Great. Next one. Got lost in a great book.
Absolutely. Yes.
I have to admit that for me it was this.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Next one. Took a shower without adjusting the knobs in the past week.
No.
I can relate to that. It's never happened. Next one. Took up a new hobby or did something creative.
No.
Hmm. Next one. Heard a song you forgot you loved.
Yes.
Lovely. Next one. Found an old note or photo.
I did. Yes.
Great. Next one. Spotted a rainbow in the past year.
Yes.
Lovely. I have only put the 1 year timeline considering that I live in Europe where rainbows are very common. And in India, they are not very common. So,
Yeah. So I think 3 weeks ago I saw a rainbow when I was driving back home.
oh,
Yeah.
lovely. Awesome. Next one. Had a random idea that sparked joy.
Yes.
Okay. Next one. Took yourself on a day or day out. On a date or day out. Sorry.
If there was a timeline, then maybe I could say yes, but in the recent past, no.
Maybe in the past 6 months.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Three
Awesome.
weeks back, I went out drinking.
Ah, very good. Awesome. Next one. Smelled something baking.
Yes.
From that look, I can imagine that it was something that you loved.
Yes.
Okay.
Banana bread.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. That must have been really good. I can imagine. Okay, next one. Good. Had a good hair day in the past 2 weeks.
Definitely. Yes. I have hardly any hair, so good
Yeah,
hair days come easily.
true. Okay, next one. Popped a bubble wrap.
Yes.
Lovely. Next one. Ate
This
your
afternoon.
Oh, wow. Very recent past. Okay, next one. Ate your comfort food.
Yes.
Lovely. Next one. Gazed at the moon in silence.
No.
No? Okay, next one. Bought something that made you giddy.
No.
And the last one. Reconnected with an old friend.
No.
No?
No.
Okay, but I think you've done fairly well. I think
Yeah.
eighty,
Good.
85% you said yeses, which is very good. So you are following
Good.
the, yes, you are following the fit melt motto of living. Very good. Well done.
Yes. Thank you.
And I'm just going to scroll up a bit and see if we missed anything. I don't think we did. We were addressing the comments and questions during the live, just making sure. No, no. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the episode. Anything you want to say before signing off, Nitya?
I want to say that I've had the most fun,
Thank
right?
you.
In an interview, in a collaboration, whatever it is. Like this has been the most joyful hour, and I want to say that I really love your work. I have read, your poems before. I've read some of your other work, and I think you said it yourself. You bring that slice of life to all your work, and it makes it really endearing. It really makes it very very relatable, and it's a joy
Thank you. Thank you so
knowing you and being able to read your work.
Thank you so much, Nitya. And I ask this question to most of my guests, especially those guests whose work I admire and with whom I have had a lot of fun during the hour that we speak on the show. So I'm going to ask you before I let you go. When are you coming up with the next book so I can invite you again?
It supposed to be releasing next month. I
Oh,
think first
wow.
week of next month, hopefully. But I don't know the exact dates. I will keep you posted, and we
Yes,
should definitely do this again.
yes. And I will be looking forward to that, reading that. And now that you have given me the timeline, I also have to think about putting my new book out before calling you on the show
Yes.
again because you can't be coming with the same book. So yeah, I will also have to put out a new book for you to be able to read something new from me also.
Yes,
Now I
ma'am.
have motivation.
Looking forward to it.
But yeah, and I also look forward to your reading. You know how much I like admire your writing. So I will be looking
Thank
forward to
you
that
so
book. All the best for that. And do tune in tomorrow. We are very excited to have you in the audience and
Yes,
answering our questions as we discuss the book. So I will see you tomorrow
absolutely.
in
Yes,
the
yes.
audience.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Have a great weekend.
Take care. You too. Bye bye.